From Dust to Dreams, the story of Amir Khan. Chapter 1, The Arrival. The first thing Amir Khan noticed when he stepped out of JFK International Airport was the smell. It wasn't bad, just different, a mix of concrete, gasoline, and the faint scent of pretzels from a nearby food cart. This was not the scent of Lahore, Pakistan, where he had lived his whole life. There the air was filled with spices, diesel fumes, and the buzz of street life. Here it was steel, motion, and promise. He wore his only suit, navy blue, slightly worn at the cuffs and too warm for a New York summer. He had $118 in his pocket, a small suitcase with 2 shirts, a pair of jeans, and a family photo wrapped in plastic. That was it. No contacts, no job, no place to stay, only a heart full of determination and a dream he couldn't explain to anyone without sounding crazy. Back home, everyone said he was foolish. America is for the rich, his uncle had said. You'll wash dishes and come back in shame. But Amir had seen things differently. For years, he had followed stories online and read books in secret about entrepreneurs, technology, and the American dream. He didn't know exactly how, but he believed that if he could just survive the first year, he would figure it out. He slept in a cheap hostel in Brooklyn, sharing a room with 5 other men from different corners of the world. During the day, he walked the streets with a worn folder full of printed resumes, applying for any job he could find. At night, he volunteered at a halal food kitchen, more for the meals than for the hours of unpaid work. His first job came after 3 weeks, a dishwasher in a Pakistani Indian restaurant in Queens. The owner, Mr. Rizvi, hired him on the spot, paying under the table $6 an hour, 12-hour shifts, no complaints. Amir worked with a silent devotion. He washed with speed, cleaned with precision, and always offered to stay late. In return, Mr. Rizvi let him sleep in the storage room when he couldn't make rent at the hostel. By month 3, Amir had saved enough to buy a used bicycle and a second-hand smartphone. That phone became his most powerful tool. He watched YouTube videos on business, marketing, and tech startups. He downloaded podcasts and listened while washing dishes. He followed online forums and read about e-commerce, customer service, and digital branding. He barely slept, but he didn't care. He wasn't in America to rest. He was here to rise. Chapter 2, The Spark. One evening, while on break behind the restaurant, Amir noticed one of the cooks struggling with a broken phone case. The man, frustrated, tossed it in the trash. Amir picked it up, examined it, and said, "Why don't you just make your own?" The cook laughed. "What, you're going to open a phone case factory now?" But the idea didn't leave Amir's mind. That night, he researched phone case suppliers in China, dropshipping websites, and how to set up a Shopify store. The world of e-commerce opened up before him like a secret door. For the next 6 months, Amir worked his restaurant job by day and built his business by night. He created a brand called Urban Shell, specializing in durable, stylish phone cases for working-class people, taxi drivers, construction workers, chefs, people like him. He didn't have money for marketing, so he used Reddit, Facebook groups, and WhatsApp chains to promote his store, offering discounts to anyone who left a review. His first sale came at 2:43 a.m. on a Wednesday, a $14.99 phone case shipped to New Jersey. He stared at the notification for 10 minutes before it sank in. He had made money online. It was real. He didn't sleep that night. Sales came slowly at first, one every few days, but Amir treated every customer like royalty. He responded to emails personally, offered free replacements, and included handwritten thank you notes. His customer base grew. By month 9, he was earning more from Urban Shell than from the restaurant. He took the risk and quit his job. Chapter 3, The Hustle. Quitting his dishwashing job wasn't just a decision, it was a bet on himself. Every morning, Amir woke up in his tiny rented room above a corner store, opened his laptop, and got to work. He couldn't afford advertising, so he posted on local forums, made TikToks showing his products in action, and cold-messaged influencers, begging them to try a free sample. Most ignored him. A few didn't. That was enough. One YouTuber with a small following reviewed Urban Shell's Extreme Grip model and called it a shockproof case that won't break the bank. That video brought in 320 sales in one weekend. Amir reinvested every dollar back into the business, buying faster shipping, upgrading packaging, and improving the store's design. But the challenges came just as fast as the progress. A supplier in Shenzhen disappeared with $1,200 of inventory. A batch of phone cases arrived warped in the summer heat, and customers complained. PayPal froze his account due to a spike in transactions, holding thousands of dollars for weeks. And worst of all, the landlord raised his rent by $300, nearly forcing him back onto the street. Each time Amir faced the choice to quit or adapt, and each time he chose to fight. He started learning about logistics and switched to US-based suppliers, even though it cut into profits. He hired a part-time student from Craigslist to help with packaging and customer emails. He built better systems, automating inventory, streamlining refunds, tracking analytics. Urban Shell wasn't just a side hustle anymore. It was a real company. By the end of year one, Amir had cleared $48,000 in profit. He celebrated by sending half of it home to his parents in Lahore and using the other half to move into a small studio in Queens, his first private apartment in America. And then came the email that changed everything. Chapter 4: Opportunity Knocks. It was from a buyer at a mid-sized tech accessory chain based in Chicago. The subject line: interested in Urban Shell. At first, Amir thought it was spam, but as he read, his hands began to shake. The buyer had seen one of his videos on TikTok. She was looking for a rugged, affordable case to add to their new everyday carry line, and Urban Shell fit the bill. They wanted to place an initial order of 5,000 units. Amir didn't even have 500 in stock. He wrote back cautiously, hiding his panic. Happy to work together, can I get specs and timelines? That night he paced his apartment, heart racing. He needed capital, he needed a warehouse, he needed a team, but more than anything, he needed courage. This was the moment every entrepreneur dreams of. It was terrifying. He cashed out his emergency fund, applied for a small business loan, and emailed every manufacturer he had worked with. He negotiated with a warehouse in Jersey City and hired 2 part-timers to help with shipping. For weeks, he barely slept, personally checking every unit before it left the facility. When the shipment finally arrived in Chicago, he waited in silence, staring at his inbox. After 2 days, the buyer replied, "Products look great, expecting reorders soon." That first deal brought in $70,000 in revenue. The next one brought $150,000. By year 2, Urban Shell was being sold in 42 retail locations across 6 states. Amir was no longer a guy with a Shopify store. He was the CEO of a growing business. Chapter 5: The Brand Grows. Amir knew that phone cases alone wouldn't sustain growth forever, so he expanded the brand. He launched new products: wireless chargers, phone holders, and anti-theft backpacks, each with the same promise: affordable, durable, built for real life. He rebranded Urban Shell with a new slogan: gear that works as hard as you do. He hired designers to polish the website, invested in better photography, and even recorded customer testimonials with workers from around the city: plumbers, mechanics, waiters, nurses, real people, the ones nobody markets to. By now, Amir was earning over $400,000 a year, but his daily habits hadn't changed much. He still took the subway, still made his own meals, still sent half of his money back home. But what changed was his vision. He wasn't just building a business anymore. He was building a mission to prove that people like him, immigrants with nothing but grit, could create something that mattered. He started mentoring younger immigrants through online forums and local community centers. He donated tech gear to low-income students. He even hired several employees who, like him, had once washed dishes to survive. Chapter 6: The Test. With Urban Shell now generating over $500,000 a year, Amir started getting attention from investors. One of them was Marissa Denton, a venture capitalist known for helping immigrant-run businesses scale fast. She invited Amir to a business summit in San Francisco. It was his first time flying first class and his first time wearing a tailored suit. "Your margins are strong, your branding is unique, and your story, that's the most powerful part," she told him over dinner in a rooftop restaurant. "I didn't build a story," Amir said. "I just built what I needed." Marissa smiled. "Exactly, and that's why it works." She offered $2 million in funding in exchange for 25% of the company. The money would allow him to build his own warehouse, hire a full team, and start a full-scale ad campaign. It was the kind of deal he once dreamed of, but something didn't feel right. When he reviewed the contract, Amir saw clauses about controlling decisions, branding, hearing, even product development. He would lose his voice. He asked himself, do I want to grow faster, or do I want to grow free? He turned the deal down. Friends called him crazy. Even his own accountant said he was making a mistake. But Amir remembered what his mother used to tell him in Urdu: Sabr ka phal mitha hot ahai. Patience bears sweet fruit. He decided to build slower but smarter. Instead of chasing investors, Amir doubled down on community. He launched a loyalty program for repeat buyers and partnered with local nonprofits. He filmed a mini documentary on his journey and shared it across social media. It went viral. Over 3 million views in a week. Thousands of messages poured in, immigrants, single moms, veterans, ex-cons, all saying the same thing. Your story is my story. Sales exploded. Chapter 7, Breaking the Million. Amir hit his first $1 million in revenue at age 29, just 4 years after arriving in America with nothing but a suitcase and hope. There was no party, no champagne, just quiet pride. He marked the occasion by visiting the same restaurant in Queens where he once washed dishes. Mr. Rizvi was still there, older now, a little slower. Amir sat down, ordered a chai, and slipped an envelope across the table. Inside was a check. Enough to cover 6 months of wages for the entire kitchen staff. I haven't forgotten, Amir said. Rizvi looked at the check, then at Amir. You never complained, that's why you made it. Chapter 8, A Visit Home. After 5 years, Amir returned to Lahore. This time he flew business class. This time his clothes were custom fit, but he still carried the same old photo of his family in his wallet. His parents didn't fully understand what he did, but they knew he had made something of himself. His father, who once told him America would eat him alive, now introduced him to neighbors as my son, the businessman from New York. He walked the streets he grew up on, the tiny electronics stall where he first saw a smartphone, the tea shop where he used to sketch business ideas in a notebook, the mosque where he used to pray for a chance. And it hit him, he wasn't just successful, he was living proof of what was possible. Before leaving, he made one more stop. He visited a local university and offered a full scholarship to one student a year, preferably someone with a dream, not just good grades. I don't need you to thank me, he said. Just promise me that when it's your turn, you'll do the same for someone else. Chapter 9, The Bigger Dream. Back in New York, Amir expanded Urban Shell into new markets, Europe, Canada, parts of Asia. He launched a second brand focused on digital tools for gig workers, wireless tools, mounts, solar chargers, gloves with touchscreen fingertips. He started giving public talks on immigrant entrepreneurship and was invited to the White House for a panel on small businesses. But even as his profile grew, he kept his life grounded. He still rented a modest apartment, still cooked his own meals, still sent money home. When asked why, he said, because the moment you start believing you're better than the people you serve, you stop being useful. By the time Amir turned 31, Urban Shell had grown into a company with over 40 employees, 2 warehouse locations, and customers in 12 countries. The company cleared $4.2 million in annual revenue, and Amir had become a sought-after voice in entrepreneurial circles. But with growth came distance. He could no longer personally answer every customer email. He did pack boxes himself. He had a COO, a finance team, a PR consultant. The energy of the early days, the hunger, the hustle was harder to maintain. Amir noticed the shift but didn't want to admit it. That's when Devin Price, his head of operations, approached him with an idea. We're leaving money on the table, Devin said. We could triple profits if we move some of our manufacturing to cheaper suppliers overseas. Customers won't notice. We redesign the cases slightly, cut material costs, and relabel them premium. Amir frowned. You're saying drop the quality. Not drop, optimize, everyone does it. Amir paused. His whole brand was based on honesty. Working class people, immigrant workers, they trusted Urban Shell because it was made for them. But Devin was persuasive. He presented reports, projections, trends. Even Apple uses suppliers with markup. We'd just be playing the same game. Reluctantly, Amir agreed to test it on one product line. At first, the profits jumped. Margins nearly doubled on the X-Shield case. No complaints. Customers didn't seem to notice. Then the emails started. I dropped my phone once and the case cracked. Used to love this brand. What happened? Feels cheap now, like a knockoff. Amir was stunned. He confronted Devin, who brushed it off. Just noise. Every brand gets bad reviews. You want to grow, don't you? But the data didn't lie. Return rates tripled. Customer retention dropped. Worse, a Reddit thread titled "Urban Shell Sold Out" went viral. It accused the brand of bait-and-switch tactics and betraying loyal customers. Amir's heart sank. This wasn't just a dip, it was a collapse. He dug deeper and discovered something worse. Devin had made side deals with 2 suppliers in exchange for kickbacks. He had hidden these from Amir by falsifying supplier reports and manipulating shipping invoices. Amir fired him immediately. But the damage was done. Chapter 11: Repair and Redemption. For weeks, Amir barely slept. He went silent on social media, shut down marketing, and froze all new product launches. His reputation, his word, was in jeopardy. He sat in the warehouse late one night, alone, staring at the very first Urban Shell case ever sold, which he had kept in a drawer. He remembered washing dishes. He remembered falling asleep on the floor of the restaurant storage room. He remembered his mother's voice in his head, "Don't ever become what you escaped." He knew what he had to do. He recorded a raw video, no script, no editing, just him in a hoodie in his apartment. "I let you down. I made a choice I thought was smart, and it was. I approved a change in quality I should have never agreed to. I take full responsibility, and I'm going to fix it, even if it bankrupts me." The video got over 6 million views in 2 days. Amir launched a full recall of every X-Shield case sold in the past 6 months. He offered replacements for free and opened a transparent audit of all supplier relationships. He set up an internal ethics board and invited 3 longtime customers to be on it. People didn't just forgive him, they rallied behind him. One tweet summed it up. "Real leaders admit when they mess up. Amir didn't just apologize, he made it right." Within 60 days, Urban Shell's customer trust score rebounded to 92%. Sales began to climb again. And Amir learned a hard lesson: never trade trust for growth. Chapter 12, Back to the Core. In the aftermath, Amir decided to restructure the company. He shut down the international expansion to refocus on North America. He simplified the product line and brought back the original Urban Shell motto, "Built honest, built strong." He rehired some of the early team members, including the very first warehouse manager he'd worked with. He even returned to hand-packing orders for a week each month to stay grounded. And something strange happened. The business became better, the growth was slower, but the foundation was solid again. His customers became evangelists, his team felt renewed purpose. The noise of profit was replaced by the quiet clarity of impact. It was a quiet morning in early spring when Amir sat down at a small cafe in Jackson Heights, the same neighborhood where he had once lived with 5 roommates in a hostel. This time he sat alone, sipping strong coffee, his laptop open. But he wasn't checking sales numbers. He was writing a mission: to empower 10,000 first-generation immigrants to launch their own businesses within 10 years. That was the goal, the next mountain. He called it Brick by Brick, named after the way he'd built his life, one piece at a time. It would be a digital accelerator, mentorship hub, and micro-investment fund rolled into one. He knew there were thousands of people just like him, brilliant, hungry, and invisible to banks and investors. Amir poured $500,000 of his own money into the platform. He hired a small team, half of them former Urban Shell employees, and built out a clean, user-friendly website with 3 tools. 1. The launch path, step-by-step video guides on building an online store, finding suppliers, and marketing on zero budget. 2. Mentor circles, weekly Zoom groups led by successful immigrant founders across industries. 3. Starter grants, $1,000 no-strings-attached seed funding, awarded monthly to 5 new entrepreneurs. The catch: you had to apply with a 1-minute video and a commitment to pay it forward if you succeeded. The site launched with little fanfare, but within a week, the first 300 applications came in. Within a month, it had 10,000 users from 38 countries. Chapter 14: Stories That Matter. One of the first Brick by Brick recipients was Lucia Fernandez, a single mother from the Bronx who started a handmade soap business from her kitchen. With her $1,000 grant and a mentor from the program, she went from making 10 bars a week to selling in 3 local shops within 6 months. Another was Chindu Akoy, a Nigerian immigrant who built a custom sneaker brand from his garage in Atlanta. He got his first website sale after attending Amir's Launch Path workshop and cried on the call when he got his first customer review. Then there was Anya Dmitriev, a refugee from Ukraine who coded her way to launching an online tutoring platform for children with disabilities. These weren't just businesses, they were lives reborn. Amir began sharing these stories weekly, short interviews, real people, no filters. Each one ended with the same line: "If I can do it, so can you." The platform took off. Brick by Brick was featured on NPR, then Forbes, then CNN. Within a year, it had helped over 1,800 businesses launch, and Amir had given away over $300,000 in microgrants. Chapter 15: The Legacy Shift. Amir had money now, real wealth. He could afford anything he wanted: a house in the hills, a luxury car, vacations in Europe. But instead, he bought a small warehouse in Queens and turned it into the brick-by-brick community hub, a co-working space, event hall, and tech lab all in one. It was open to the public, free for any immigrant entrepreneur building something real. He started hosting monthly Founders Night events, where 20 people at a time could pitch their ideas to mentors, investors, and other strivers like them. Some ideas failed, others caught fire. One founder launched a spice delivery service for homesick expats. Another created a childcare matching app for low-income families. One teen from Bangladesh built an AI chatbot for language learners. Each time a success story happened, Amir didn't ask for credit, he just clapped the loudest. "I don't want statues," he told a journalist, "I want ripple effects." 5 years after launching Brick by Brick, Amir was invited to speak at a graduation ceremony at a public high school in Queens, one with a large population of immigrant students. He almost turned it down. He wasn't a polished speaker. He didn't have a college degree, but something told him to go. He stood in front of 300 students, many of whom reminded him of himself at 18, wide-eyed, uncertain, hopeful. His speech was simple. "You don't have to be brilliant, you just have to be stubborn. You don't have to know the way, you just have to keep walking. You don't need permission, you just need to begin." He told them about arriving in New York with $118, about scrubbing dishes in silence, about the first time someone believed in him, and how that changed everything. When he finished, no one clapped right away. They stood in silence. Then the room erupted. Afterward, one girl with a hijab and braces came up to him in tears. "You made me believe I can do something, even if I'm just me." Amir smiled. "That's all you ever need to be." Chapter 17: The Letter. Months later, Amir received a handwritten letter in the mail. It was from Mr. Rizvi, the restaurant owner who had first given him a job. "Dear Amir, I've followed your story from afar. Watching you rise has been one of the quiet joys of my life. I want you to know something. Back then, I didn't give you a job because I thought you were talented. I gave you a job because you didn't look away. You looked people in the eye even when you were at the bottom. That told me everything I needed to know. You honored the work, and now the work honors you." Amir kept that letter in his wallet next to the old family photo, the one he brought from Lahore on day one. Chapter 18: The Dream Continues. At age 38, Amir sat with his mother in the living room of a modest but beautiful home he'd built for her back in Pakistan. She was older now, her hands thinner, but her voice still warm. They sipped chai, watching the evening settle in around them. "You know," she said, "you were always dreaming, even as a boy. And you were always grounding me." Amir smiled. "I wasn't trying to stop you," she said. "I was just making sure your feet touched the earth before you reached for the sky." He nodded. He understood that now. Epilogue: A Life Rewritten. Amir never became a billionaire. He didn't build the next Apple or Tesla. But by age 40, he had helped over 11,000 immigrants launch their own small businesses. He had built a brand that millions trusted. He had made his family proud. And most importantly, he had proved that you don't need a head start to make it in America. You just need a spark and the courage to protect it. From a dishwashing station in Queens to boardrooms, community halls, and back again, Amir Khan rewrote what success could look like. Not flashy, not fast. Just real. Brick by brick.